Hi everyone, I'm Daniel Paschall. I'm the Mid-Atlantic Manager for the East Coast Greenway Alliance. I cover Pennsylvania, Delaware, and Maryland, and I'm going to show the few developments that I'm really excited about that just recently happened or in the process of happening in my region. Starting north to south, going from Princeton is sort of at the top of the map, all the way down to Philadelphia. There's a number of trails in development, as you can see, lots of text, but I really wanted to highlight a number of ones just to help folks get their bearings. The DNL trail is from Morrisville to Bristol, at the top of Bucks County, going to the border of New Jersey. And then from there, there's a number of trails planned and in progress of development from Bristol all the way down to Center City, Philadelphia. One of those is the Delaware River Trail that's along Northeast Philadelphia's waterfront. And a major development that's happening as part of the I-95 construction is the Delaware River Trail's sort of underpass. I don't know if it has an official name just yet, but you can kind of see here that they've developed a trail underneath 95. So this trail is separated from traffic, multi-use, wide enough for walking and biking together. There's going to be some stormwater features here. It goes right through Fishtown between the streets of Aramingo and Lehigh. There's still some final touches to be done, as well as some major touches with a crosswalk and signalization to make sure people can safely get to and from the trail. But this is a really exciting sort of change as part of the 95 construction right now. You can see in Northeast Philly, this little blue line is our interim route. So that's where people have to go to avoid all of the construction. So once that kind of finishes up, there's a little dash line there that will be a trail, and that'll get people closer between Penn Treaty Park, this 95 underpass, and then there'll be another on-road segment on low stress roads through the neighborhood into Port Richmond to connect to Riverfront North Trail along the Delaware. So that's a really exciting one in Pennsylvania. We've got, of course, more in the works that I'll talk about in a little bit for the rest of the city, like Spring Garden Street. That's the one I wanted to highlight in Pennsylvania. Wanted to also give a shout out to the Cobbs Creek Trail. That's in progress. That's already been constructed in large part. Most of the trail is finished. They're finishing up some plantings, landscaping, and the major lift is the intersection crossing at Lindbergh and 84th Street. And this is in Southwest Philadelphia in the Eastwick neighborhood, just outside that John Hines Wildlife Refuge. And then a sort of a callback to last year's update in Delaware, right on the border with Maryland. The Elkton Road pathway is almost completely finished up. It is fully usable now, and we have designated it as part of the Greenway. This is a trail that will take trail users from Newark and sort of the bikeway network that exists there, the low stress bikeway, over to the border with Maryland, very close to Elkton. There's a stretch of bike lanes along Elkton Road to get you most of the way there. This connects a number of shopping centers, schools, elementary schools, University of Delaware, also the SEPTA rail station there, and the James Hall Trail. So this is a major improvement over what existed before. You can see this is along a pretty wide arterial road in Delaware. You can see the Southwest Bikeway is sort of the segment of that network of bikeways I talked about before, and have some befores and afters collages to show really what this improvement means for this segment of trail, about 1.5 miles. You're on bike lanes before on a 50-mile-per-hour road in some stretches, and now instead you can actually be on a separate path, fully protected from traffic, wide enough again for walking and biking. Some parts didn't even have sidewalks before. There's quite a number of connections to make. You can see lots of signs, as well as to Amtrak and SEPTA at Newark, to the University of Delaware. And now there's this full multimodal corridor. Hopefully, over time we can maybe add some trees, make it feel a little bit more green, but at the beginning of this is just so amazing to get folks off the road and out of harm's way. And then one more major development I wanted to highlight in Maryland. This is down in central Maryland, sort of outside of DC, between Annapolis and Baltimore, is the WBNA Trail. There's a bridge over the Patuxent River that is finally under construction. So that's super exciting. There was a groundbreaking just a few months back. I had a number of people out with golden shovels. This is a long-awaited connection that would basically make the WBNA trail continuous from Anne Arundel County into Prince George's. So it'll be about 13 or so miles once it's all said and done. Here's a construction photo of it in process just this past summer. And that means, go back to the map, we'll have a continuous stretch again from Odenton all the way to Prince George's County. We'll have a number of things to figure out. How do we get from the WBNA to Greenbelt to the Anacostia River trails? But going the other way to Annapolis, we'll be making our way over to the South Shore Trail. That's this line coming down through Odenton, through Crownsville, Pearl. That will help us actually shift this interim route, which is very indirect. It's indirect because it avoids high-stress arterial roads. There's a number of really dangerous, stressful roads that force us to kind of go way out of the way. This is still not the most direct, but it'll be off-road and much more scenic. And it's also along MARC train stations, so that's really exciting. We're getting into the fall, and I think the changing of the leaves, of course, just the weather, the temperature is really nice. You're not too hot or too cold. There's lots of events happening. There's lots of fall festivals. It's just a really wonderful time to see the landscape in the Mid-Atlantic as those leaves start to change colors. And, just kind of, it's an exciting time, I guess. It feels, the air is a little bit crisper. There's, football and all sorts of things happening on the weekends. But, yeah, it's sort of the perfect time just to get out with friends and family and go exploring. In Philadelphia, there's a number of segments that are all isolated from each other at the moment, especially along the waterfront in Northeast Philly. One of those trails, the K&T, has a groundbreaking October 17th, and that will extend it. Won't be, super big trail, won't get all the way up there, but that will add another, I think it's a little bit less than a mile, but it'll get you up to Princeton Ave, creating a multi-modal corridor, more so for folks traveling. You can actually come down to Princeton Ave. That's a connector street. Currently, it's pretty hard to get down to the riverfront. The K&T will become more accessible, and then you'll be able to go down towards, right now there's the boat launch down Frankfurt, and then you'll also have some connections back to basically up to Torresdale. That's where we're currently following on our interim route. But that will allow us to move the route down to the K&T and really kind of show that to a number of folks coming into the area from outside of Philadelphia who are following the route, may not ever see this otherwise. Currently, we aren't able to incorporate it because it's just too tricky to kind of get people down for just a short amount of trail. So this will lengthen the K&T long enough to really highlight that and show that off. That's what's over in this corner right here. So you can see how it's built along an old railroad corridor. Beautiful views of the river, the Delaware River. Lots of opportunities for fishing. There's some native landscaping. That's Riverfront North Partnership has done a great job of restoring the waterfront and the ecology there, doing outdoor activities with artists and naturalists, kind of getting people reconnected with that riverfront. So that it will be under construction this fall and going into 2023. Next one I want to look at in Claymont. So up here, the top of Delaware, where you're going into Marcus Hook, it's a very industrial area. However, there are bike lanes along US 13 going between Delaware and Pennsylvania. There was a road diet recently done on the Delaware side, giving more space to bikes. Still paint, not protected yet, so it's not officially part of the Greenway, but it is the interim route. And Claymont itself, you can see this dashed line closer to the two. This will be a new trail that's being built right now as part of a new Claymont SEPTA station, and that'll allow you to get off of 13 sooner as you're coming into Delaware. Go by the new station, which will have more amenities, and it won't be on a curve. Currently, the Claymont station's kind of on the banking of the rail. But yeah, more space for biking and walking to connect through over 495 there on a pedestrian bridge back to Governor Prince Boulevard, where there's plans for a side path to connect you down to the Northern Delaware Greenway. So that'll help Delaware further increase its connectivity. Right now it's about 70% done. So that's one of the higher rates of our states on the Greenway. It's super exciting. And then wanted to highlight in Maryland, excuse the flipping the slides. In Baltimore area, we have a number of plans that are in the works, and on both sides of the city in 2023, you'll see more progress. There's a feasibility study connecting the Jones Falls Trail to the NCR Trail, which is not shown on the map, but it does go north-south here all the way up into Pennsylvania, up to York. That connection will help provide a piece of the East Coast Greenway, and it'll be up through Lake Roland Park. We're trying to figure out, what will be the alignment. That's up to the consultants that will be working on this study. So there'll be public input opportunities coming up. We'll be sure to let folks know about those. On the south side of the city, actually, on the south side of the river here, the Tapsco River, the Baybrook connector is another trail in the works, and that is being led by the Greater Baybrook Alliance. They're moving along with their study right now. So on both sides of the city, we're looking for better connectivity into the suburbs and to the rest of the trail network that exists already in Anne Arundel County. The eventual goal for getting from Baltimore County to Hartford, there is plans for a Ma and Pa Trail connector. It's a little bit longer off, but the regional planning organization has highlighted that as one of the priorities for the region. So that's really exciting to see some activity, some progress here, and lots of people are already showing support for these connections where trails aren't as plentiful as, say, this part of the state. So that does it for me. Look forward to talking with you all more and answering your questions. Thanks so much.